Hey guys, hope you and the families are doing well. A couple of weeks ago on YouTube, I released a video teaching you about my intraday mean reversion long trading setup, also known as the Immorello setup. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video as well, taking you through a recent trade that I had in GEV on the 10th of January 2025. Now we've got this side by side versus the S&P ETF. Now the reason for that is because I want to teach you about the importance of looking for relative strength both on the daily chart but also on an intraday perspective. So that's going to be something new, hopefully, and really help you dial in on those leading stocks. If you'd like to use my two-chart trading view layout that you'll see on GEV, I'll put a link to that down below for you as well. Before we get on into it, I'll let you know that Market Surge are today's video sponsor. They're my go-to resource for analyzing company fundamentals, as I did with GEV. If you are interested in a discounted trial, you'll find a link to that in the description and the comment section below. Okay, let's start off with a high-level overview then. So there's four charts currently on your screen. The upper ones are going to be on the daily time frame and the lower ones are going to be on the 5-minute time frame. We're going to look at all of those as we look at the Immorello, so the intraday mean reversion long trade on GEV, and we also start analyzing relative strength on the daily charts and the intraday charts, looking at those 5-minute charts. So high-level overview of the trade. GEV, this is the opening 5-minute candlestick for the 10th of Jan session. You can see that it trades down. Now you may be wondering, what is this black horizontal line running across that 5-minute chart? It's going to be very important, as I taught you in the Immorello video a couple of weeks ago. This is the 10-day EMA from the daily chart. So you see this here, this black moving average that you see, that's the 10-day EMA. So that price level there on the daily chart is here on the 5-minute chart. That's very important for how I trade Immorellos, the intraday mean reversion longs. So what do we see? GEV trades down to its 10-day EMA price level in a V-shaped manner. The left side of a V here then starts popping back up like this, reclaiming this orange moving average, which is the 5-minute 6 EMA, which often coincides with the positive MACD signal that you can see here. So my entry is here, okay? It's at 356.60, which on the daily chart you can see that 356.60. So then you can see what it looks like on the daily chart in here relative to the 5-minute chart here. Initial stop loss for me, low of the day by a single cent. That's going to be at 350.99 underneath the low of this shakeout demand tail. If you've seen the blueprint video, you'll be familiar with shakeout demand tails. So it moves down, shakeout underneath the 10-day EMA. So my entry is there. My initial stop loss placement is here. And then you can see what that looks like on the daily chart. I also had an intraday mean reversion long, so an Immorello on GEV on the 8th of Jan, doing the exact same as it put in this shakeout demand tail off the 10-day EMA. Basically a carbon copy of the setup that I took here the very next session later. So you'll just see these setups continue to repeat in leading stocks. But let's go on to that point, okay? Leading stocks. So I'm not just looking for an Immorello, an intraday mean reversion long trade on any old stock. What I'm trying to do is really dial in on where are the strongest stocks in the market and are there really strong themes. What is quite a strong theme right now is the clean alternative energy related leaders. So that's GEV, VST, VRT, CEG, and N and NRG. Some of those are really strong, potentially OCLO, maybe NNE as well. But in terms of your CanSlim kind of earnings, the sales are there, the EPS estimates are there, the stories there, 52-week highs, all-time high territory, GEV, VST, VRT, CEG, NRG. They're the ones that I'm really dialed into. They look a pretty strong pocket right now and some decent bases as well. And you saw some of the fundamentals hopefully earlier when I popped up the market surge data. Okay, so then what I'm doing is I'm trying to dial in on those leading stocks, and if the market's a little bit choppy as it has been, I'm going to be more apt to be using this Immorello setup because you can see how tight the initial risk is. It's about 1.57%. okay, it's nice tight initial stop loss relative to the 20-day ADR percentage of 3.93%. it's nearly half. So my initial stop loss placement is around about half the 20-day ADR percentage. Really like that as a metric. Sometimes with these Immorellos it can be even tighter. It could be a third, it could be a quarter, it could be an eighth. It can be really tight, certainly depending where I want to place my initial stop loss. Instead of low of the day, if I maybe want to go underneath the low of the entry, the 5-minute entry candlesticks, then I keep the risk even tighter. In that instance there would probably be around 1% or so, maybe even a little bit tighter. So it gives you some options there in terms of keeping the risk tight. There's a couple of things here with the S&P 500 being choppy of late. Okay, you can see it rallies here, loses the key daily moving averages. Black line is a 10-day EMA, blue line 21-day EMA, purple line 50-day SMA on my chart. So you can see it's trading below here. Okay, it pops up, rolls over here, but look at the relative, look at what is happening here for the SPY, and then look at the relative strength of GEV during that same time period for the last week and a half or so. Look at GEV. It's been able to trade above all key daily moving averages. Really strong reclaim bar here on Friday the 3rd of January. Pops up and then it's pulling back in. And if I zoomed out here, I'm not going to because otherwise the charts will get a little bit messed up. But if I'll zoom out, there you go. Potentially a big base. And this here is all-time high territory. 6th of Jan, all-time high territory. Look at this. The stock's up here trading near all-time high territory. There's 52-week highs on the relative strength line as well. This stock is a very, very strong stock currently. So then what I'm doing is dialing in pattern recognition, mental representations. Go, okay, leading stock in the market, looks like a leading theme again, clean alternative energy related stocks, some nice bases. Where am I looking for supportive action? On pullbacks, what key daily moving averages am I looking at? Well, I use it as reference points. I use these key daily moving averages as reference points. So my first reference point is going to be the 10-day EMA. My next one will be the 21-day EMA. The next one will be the 50-day simple period moving average. So as these stocks intraday are trading down to those key daily moving averages, this is where I'm looking for those intraday mean reversion long trades. So you can see it obviously here with GEV. It's a sharp sell-off down here, starts recovering. You get the positive MACD signal coming through as well. So my entry is on this bar here as it moves through the high of this bar, starts reclaiming the 5-minute 6 EMA, positive MACD signal, stop loss low of the day there. Then from a management perspective, I can try and free roll into this pop. I can then see if an intraday trend starts playing out. I can hold some into the close of the day. And then what I could do as well, if I want to, is I could transition the trade management from an intraday perspective to actually, well, do you know what? I really like how this is now setting up on the daily chart. I'm thinking GEV may want to come out of this big base and go on a significant trend. And then can I try and play it for a move like this along its 10-day EMA and along its 21-day EMA? So can I change it from, or transition it from a stock where initially I have a tight stop of around about 1.5%? Can I then try and sit and get a trend like that out of it? And then we're talking huge potential risk to potential reward there. So that there is something that I'm always thinking about. The character of the stock, will it move? Where does it like to set up? The daily chart, are we seeing a big base? Are we seeing relative strength on the daily chart relative to the major indexes? In this instance here, going to be a bit more appropriate to assess GEV versus the S&P 500 rather than the NASDAQ 100, which is much more tech orientated. Okay, so on the daily chart, GEV showing a lot of relative strength, trading above key daily moving averages, really bullish bar on Friday the 3rd of January, back above all key daily moving averages. And then here you can see it's tightening up while the S&P 500 is really just rolling out of bed while this stock forms some shakeout demand tails, pulls into its 10-day EMA on an intraday basis. Okay, so where I'm taking the trade with GEV, if we look at the SPY here, is around about this bar here, okay, around 10.25. If you then take a look around 12.05, okay, so this is going to be 12.05. This is where we could go into some intraday relative strength, okay. What do you notice for the SPY? Well, the SPY at 12.05, okay, if I was to just write kind of 12.05 here, okay, it's actually making a new session low. It's down here on the lows, okay, it's made a lower low, you see that? But where is GEV at 12.05? Okay, let's take a look at this. GEV at 12.05 is around here. Look at the higher low. See this? This is intraday relative strength. So GEV is making a structural higher low, whereas the SPY is making a lower low. This is where you're seeing intraday relative strength. So stock was able to pop up like this, and then it puts in this higher low here, it puts in another higher low here. So what I'm then seeing on the daily chart, I'm seeing relative strength. On an intraday basis, I'm seeing relative strength. So wherever I'm targeting, I'm ideally looking for relative strength across multiple time frames. The most common ones that I focus on is going to be relative strength on the daily chart, like we were just reviewing, and then relative strength on the 5-minute chart like this. But this is how, when I'm then trading these in Morellos or I'm looking for swing trading setups, I'm focused on the relative strength. I think it's so important when trading these types of setups, when trading any setup. I think relative strength is really important, certainly if it's going to be a trade to the long side. If I was looking for a trade to the short side, then I'm going to be looking for relative weakness, both on the daily chart but also on an intraday chart as well. I want to, in that instance, see stocks that are weaker than the major indexes. But with these ones here, focusing on the relative strength is going to be really important. So I'll do more videos like this in coming weeks, where I'm dialing in and teaching you about the importance of relative strength, and I'll try and find some really good examples from trades that I take in coming weeks for intraday relative strength. So thank you very much for watching that video. If you want this trading layout here, then I'll put a link to it down below for you in the comment section. Thank you for watching. As always, thank you for supporting the YouTube channel, and I will see you in a future video.